Librarian J Blaze, Daddy Dialogue, the podcast, back, and I am intrigued, excited. What are the words I want to say? Because I have Georgette with me. And before I even mess this up, Georgette, I want to make sure I have these titles because you do more than one thing here. You're like a fashionista. You got a lot going on, and so I want to make sure. And you check out her blazer. It looks dope, right? I know. I'm telling you, this librarian ain't like other ones out there. Okay, just get your game right. Tell me the titles that you obtained, because you do more than one thing here. You don't put just books on a shelf or anything like that. There's just a lot going on in your life as a librarian. What is your title exactly, Georgette?
So, administratively, I am library manager, so I'm in charge of the day-to-day operations of the library. As a librarian, I am a youth services librarian, so I work with primarily middle school and teens.
Okay.
And then as a program manager, every program that comes through the library comes through me. So I do all of the legwork, all of the legwork of all of the programs that happen here.
You get to decide if they're coming or not,
Yes.
if you want them or not,
Yes.
if they work for the benefit of the branch, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's interesting. I am so intrigued to ask you so many things with that.
Yeah.
All right, so Georgette, your passion for books and reading, where did it come from? Was it something that you fell in love with when you were younger, your college years? When did it, what was the moment you were like, I think I want to be a librarian and sort of be associated with, how did that happen for you?
Well, it didn't happen like you would normally think it would. So there was no passion for reading or no passion for books.
You weren't reading books deep like that. Okay.
But I did read. Of course, I did the black novels when I was in high school. The fun stuff that we probably weren't supposed to be reading. So I definitely did those. However, for 10 years, I worked at the University of Miami as a program manager for interdisciplinary studies program. So Africana, American Studies, Women and Gender Studies, the whole thing.
Wow.
And
you left that to come over here?
I got laid off.
I was
there for 10 years.
That's pretty amazing.
I was laid off. When they hire someone new, they bring in their own people.
Your whole team, yeah.
Right. So I was offered to reapply for the position, but I said absolutely not.
Because you knew that wasn't going to happen.
I mean, even if it was, don't try me like that.
Yeah.
I've been here for 10 years.
Yeah.
You can't be serious. So I left there knowing that I wanted to work with young adults, teens, primarily because in that position that I was in, at the University of Miami, we all know it's a PWI. There are a few black kids that are funneled through there. And I found myself in a position with helping them navigate through that white space.
What's PWI?
Now I can't think. Predominantly white institutions.
Okay. You're talking about libraries?
No, I'm talking about college.
Okay, perfect.
So predominantly white institutions and then HBCU, historically black college universities.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So once I left there, I said I want to work with the youth. I want to help them to develop themselves, to see where they're going, how it's going to happen, and what have you. So I ended up working at the library as a teen programmer.
Okay.
Right. So I came here. It was a bunch of students. There's no rec center on this side of town. There's 4, 5, 6 different schools in the area. So the library is the rec center. They needed someone to give these kids something to do. So I came in, hit the ground running, started programming, gave them things that they didn't even know that they like. And it was always, Miss, what's that? Miss, I don't want to go. Just come. And they enjoyed everything. And then I got into a position where I felt like, you know what? I can't see myself continuing to move around looking for jobs if this doesn't work out or whatever. And I actually had 2 children at the time. And I said, I need to build something for them. I needed a career. So I decided to go to library school. I'm already in the library. Let me go ahead and go to library school, become a librarian, and make this a thing.
What is library school? I've never heard of that.
Library school is...
You understand, the normal person doesn't even know what that is.
And I didn't either.
What, library school?
I learned it as well.
There's a school for librarians?
You have to have a master's degree in library and information science in order to be a librarian.
That's that stuff that's on your link on your profile?
Yep.
Yes, Association of that I saw. I was like, what is? I've never seen this. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. So you went to library school, and then that gives you the accreditation for you to
become a librarian. Right.
Officially. Wow, is that
Right.
how long is that course?
It can take up as long as you need it. You can take it however you can, but I finished it in about 2 years.
Wow.
Because I had a goal.
I'm getting.
I gotta go. Yeah, so I did every semester, fall, spring, summer, fall, spring.
And so, Georgette, you're doing that as you are also implementing these programs
Yes.
locally here in
Yes.
at this branch in North Miami. So these are like your babies. These programs that you've established.
Oh yeah.
Now.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guessing now there's a sense of pride seeing some of these things flourish after many years, correct? Things you've created?
Well,
Or do they always change every so often?
no, so the pride comes when I can pitch a program and it actually happens. That's my pride. Once it's birthed and I see it doing well, I need to have another baby. I need to do something else.
Because you get tired.
No. It's not even me getting tired. I've done that work. Now it's time for me to move on to the next, to continue to build, to have more programs.
So you like project building. You're really into that. That's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what. Mm-hmm. And I notice with people like that, usually after they get to that pinnacle, okay, we did it, it's running, I'm moving I get bored easy.
On to the next.
Yeah, what's next? What's the next challenge?
Well, it's not that I get bored easily. I try to find partners in the community to help me to build these programs, right? Because our children don't just need one thing. They need everything. So those programs are still running while we're building more. So it's not that one program, one and done, and then we move on to the next. No, these programs continue on throughout the school year for the kids to continue to participate. One of the programs that we did that's still running and we were able to get paid, it's free during the school year, but we have to pay for it during the summer, is a partnership that we have with the Museum of Contemporary Arts.
Okay.
So they come after school on Thursdays and they're here for typically an hour and a half, 2 hours with the teens, and they do art projects.
Wow.
And it fills up every time.
That's amazing.
Right?
To me, I didn't even know. So that leads me to this question. What do you think is the biggest misconception of, and I wrote this down as a question, that you think black and brown kids sort of underutilize when it comes to the library? What is because I'll give you an example. When I was younger, we looked at the library like two different things. One, a rec center, because there was nothing else to do. It was hot in the park. I didn't want to go play basketball. So I went to the AC, grabbed a couple books, acted like I was reading, and kept it moving. Or I had a project, and I had to get a book, and I needed help. And it was sort of this, at least for me, there was this adventure where, oh, snap, I'll get this new book, I get to read. And it was, and I'm not going to say it was always like that, but sometimes it was. Especially when they had this, I think they still have it. Pizza Hut has this program called Book It that changed my life. I was reading books so fast. You try to do a book, so I get a pizza. Like, it was crazy. I was out there like crazy.
I remember those.
It was just classic. And people laugh, but it really got me to read and draw little pictures and the whole vibe. But what is one of the biggest misconceptions, or we can just say general, of people on what they think about a library is and what it really is?
I think the biggest misconception is that it's still the traditional library, right? Where you come, you get a book, it's quiet, you study, you do projects quietly. Yeah, that's not what it is anymore. We are trying to I won't say move away from tradition. We're going to keep the tradition, but build on it. Okay. Right? So there's a lot of resources that are out here for families, for teens that need to be had. They need to grasp it, right? Because if not, the money goes elsewhere. And then we'll say, oh, they don't never do anything for the Black and Latino people, whatever. They do. You just have to go where the money is, go where the resources are, go where the funding is. And so we try to make that place the library.
That's amazing.
The easiest place for them to come to, the public library. Everything is free. We don't charge for anything.
And it's a
if
hub.
someone's charging for anything in the library, it's not of the library. Right?
Somebody trying to catch a bag.
It is definitely a community hub. It is definitely a safe space.
Examples of, there's so much more I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about how has the dynamics of how libraries run change with the digital age of people now just reading everything off their phone and not having to grab a book, like a physical book. How has that changed the complexity? Do you think libraries are behind, or they're just getting up on like like technology wise, and that'll lead me to a whole nother thing, which I think you're going to be really interested in talking about, that I am flabbergasted, which is, and I struggle with this. I feel like, and I'm sorry, I'm going to get right to this because this is something that it's been on my chest since I got here. I feel like sometimes the libraries that are in areas or communities that have money have amazing resources and services that are just sitting there, and then the places that lack, that need these tools, sort of struggle to obtain them, or it becomes extremely hard to get them. Is that a real thing? Or is, because example, I saw a documentary and it was, I was like, what? I've never seen a library like that in my life. It was some library in some other state, okay? And what I saw, Georgette, that threw me off was like, yo, you walk into this thing, it had all this AR, virtual reality. They had like podcast booths for you to record. I was like, this is crazy. But I'm like, I'll never see nothing like that in Miami. At least I haven't seen. Is that still a thing? Is it distinguished by the county, the state, the community, the center? Who dictates? I know you don't want to put nobody on blast, but I just want to hear what your concept is with that, because I hear some undertones of you saying some people complain, but it's not because they're going to the money or searching for those resources. But I want to hear from your side, what dictates that as far as like having those cool things in your local library?
Right. So I'll go to the traditional books and then we'll move forward with that. So as far as libraries moving into the new age, I would say it like that. There are still people like myself who like tangible books, because we're doing this all day long. I don't want to read a book on my phone.
That's true.
So I'd rather pick up a book and read it. And there are people that are still like that. There are children that are like that.
I like that.
There are parents that bring their children to the library or have their own libraries at home to make sure their children know how to read a tangible book.
Because there's a time you spend with them that you can never measure with anything else.
Right, absolutely. So that has not gone away. I think the problem is, again, the traditional library has the traditional type of staff, right? So what has to happen is libraries have to start hiring people, number one, that looks like the people in the neighborhoods of the library. That's number one. And number two, they have to start hiring younger people who understand AI, who understand the different technologies that are out there, who know how to use them, who know how to teach them, who know how to go out and market these resources to the community. And that's another thing to what you were saying. These libraries have these wonderful things that you were saying, the virtual reality and all of this, but the problem is they don't market it to the community, so the community doesn't know that it's there. That's the problem. There is one library in Homestead. It's called a librarian. It used to be the Homestead branch that was a part of the Miami-Dade County system.
What's a librarian?
So a librarian is pretty much a technology library. So it has the VR cube, it has the VR room, it has these computer tables where you sit down and you just play games on the monitor. It has laptops that you can check out, and it still has the traditional books as well. It has a theater. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's amazing.
And it might be the only one in the United States.
Oh, that's like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. And it's not that we can't have those things. We can. We just need to, a lot of libraries have issues with funding. I don't know if you know, but our library is not a part of the county system. We're a standalone library. We're ran by the city of North Miami.
So that differs how the funding comes down and the quality of...
So our funding doesn't come from the county. It comes from the city.
And so does the county make that decision, or do they get to exclude or include you into their network of...
That we're excluded because we're not a part of their system.
Okay.
So whatever funding we get comes from the city of North Miami. Yeah.
I guess
so it's the same with, it's us, North Miami Beach, Hialeah Library, and Miami Shores.
There's pros and cons to that, I'm guessing, correct?
To me, the only con is funding. I honestly probably shouldn't say this. But I don't think I would ever want to go to the county system.
No, you won't. You like being independent like this?
I like
sort of connected to the city, in other words.
Right. I like being independent because I don't like people telling me what to do.
And you can move a little fluid, right? A little more, a little looser,
Yeah.
because you're not in this union of people that
Yes, so I don't have to get my yeses and nos from the top.
a bunch of people that probably.
And I don't have to, if I want to start a program that I pitched today, if I want to start it next week, I can.
It can be done
When
quickly.
you're in the county, you can't do that. There's
you gotta
one
go through
person for all 50 libraries
Oh no.
that they have to, so
So,
that's,
but at the end, though, Georgette, I'm sorry I cut you. That benefits the community, though.
yes.
The fact that you're able to do it like that. That's pretty
However,
dope.
there's also a lot of resources that we don't have that the county has.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's like a two-way street to that.
Right, but what I have learned to do as a programmer is to see what it is that they have that we don't, and try to mimic it in a way to where our patrons aren't missing anything by not going to the county.
They see a representation of it
Right.
to some degree.
Right. So
Is there a weird vibe between the librarians that are connected to that network and not? Y'all all sort of get along?
we're all good.
It's
it's
just
no
different
bad
with the
blood or nothing like that.
No. I thought y'all looked at each other
Not
a
at
little
all.
different.
Not at all.
And we talked about the communities. Is it something, man, because this is, when I started digging deep, I saw your blog. There's a blog link that you have on your page. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. It's an association. Then I started reading. I think it's a breakdown of some of the programs or a program you were launching with someone else. And so I was like, okay, so what do these, which I think is really important, what do these partnerships look like? When you say you're able to partner, you bring these different programs in seasonally, depending on who it is, what that looks like. And I want you to give me an example, Georgette, that looks, what's the word I want to use? That looks non-conventional. That looks like, give me an arrangement. You don't got to say the company or anything, but give me an arrangement or a partnership that other libraries have never done that maybe is something uniquely done here in North Miami that you would say that benefits your people in this community.
Okay, so I'll talk about one that I actually started that I was just talking about.
Okay.
Just didn't go into depth. Again, there's a lot of there's a lot of resources that the county system has that we don't. One of the resources are museum passes.
Okay.
So you can go to the county library, you can check out a museum pass, go to the Miami Children's Museum with your family, because it's a family pass.
Okay.
You check it out like a book, you go to the museum, and then you check it back in.
Okay.
I've asked, why don't we have it? And I've gotten so many responses, whatever, I haven't gotten a clear answer.
Yeah.
Right? So what I started doing was, you know what? We'll take them. We'll take these kids on a field trip to these places where the county system will take them, where they probably, even if they had access to the county system museum passes, their parents may not have a car to take them to these places, right? They may not have the funds to pay for whatever it is. Parents may not have the time, because a lot of our parents are working parents, right? So what I decided to do was make it field trips. And field trips not on the weekends, because parents need their weekends. I know I do. On teachers' work days, so that way parents don't have to take off work. They don't have to miss money. They know where their children are, and their children are doing something cultured. Their children are doing something that they can learn from, and something that they can have fun with. It's not just, boring museum. We
And they get to experience something different.
Right, absolutely.
Some kids don't even leave their community. They've never been outside of.
And so we invite the parents to come as well. If the parents want to come, they can come as well. And then the kids don't have to miss school for any reason, right? So we partnered with the Knights of Columbus, who normally pay for transportation. And then our friends group. I don't know if you know, every library has a friends group.
I didn't know that.
So the county has one friends group. And then each municipal library has their own friends group. And our friends group has an endowment where it helps pay for not family programming, but youth programming.
Got it.
They pay for youth programming. So the friends have paid for the food for the kids, because we make sure we feed them.
Got it.
And then the Knights of Columbus have paid for transportation. And that's all we needed.
You covered all the bases.
We covered all the bases. And we have them come here at they register to come. They make sure they sign a waiver for safety. They get here at a certain time. We make sure they eat before they come. We hop on the bus, go to whatever location that we're going to go to. We eat. We come back. And if the parents are running late, we'll put on a little movie. They have the headphones to watch the movie so it won't interrupt the library. And they've had a day, and it goes from age 8 to 18. And you would think you can't mix that group because it's all babies or whatever, but they enjoy it all the same.
Georgette, you exude the love you have for these children. I can tell by just talking to you, like the passion you have. Let me tell you, it is. I hear you talking. It sounds daunting, just throwing this stuff together with all these children together, and it is not easy.
You know what? When you like it, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I was just talking to someone this morning. I live 45 minutes away from here with no stops. When I have to stop, I live about an hour. And I don't dread getting up every morning and coming to work. I don't. And to me, that's how you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm so good with what I'm doing. I'm not going to say I'm good at what I'm doing because, there's mistakes, every now and then you learn from your mistakes. But I enjoy programming for teens and for kids and families, period, because I have a family. And we're always looking for something for our kids to do besides being on the phone on TikTok and playing Roblox, right?
Woo!
So, and even if it's not picking up a book, a lot of people don't know know that libraries and museums actually coexist. They're pretty much one and the same.
I didn't know that. See?
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, I'm sure.
Right.
Because they consider it two different identities, and I don't know, like, I think about I live in Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. And so in Hollywood, there's this huge library in the middle, but it's more like a rec
Is
center.
it the Broward? Oh.
No, the one that's in Young Circle, like when you get off Hollywood Boulevard, it's huge. It's a big old library. But there is a lot going on. I will say this, and sadly, this is just the honest truth, because most people are like this too, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Most people don't do their due diligence to figure out everything a library has to offer. Like they assume, or they, like example, Georgette, I went last week, we checked out a book. I haven't checked out a book with my son in months, probably 2 years. We showed up, I didn't even know if my card was still decent. We showed up, scared, like, oh, okay, yeah, you're good. So we rented a book or whatever. And I was sitting there, I was like, there's so much information, so much stuff here, like all these classes that they offer, and no one, like a lot of people sleep on it. You know what I mean? Like they don't do their homework to figure out.
Well, you know what? I would say, I feel like it's our job as library workers, librarians, library staff to educate the patrons that come into our library on what we have to offer. Because some people don't know what they need.
It's true.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of new Americans in this community who come in here because it's a safe place, but they don't know they can get citizenship classes. They don't know that there is a ESOL class that happens here. They don't know that there's an English cafe where if they're working on their English and they want to know how to speak socially when they go to the airport, when they go to Starbucks or whatever, they don't know that that stuff is available, so you have to give them that information. Okay. Some people are very fearful of things that you feel like they shouldn't be fearful of, but we don't know everybody's backstory.
That's true.
Right? So we have to offer these people, these patrons, let them know what we have, program for them, with them, so they can know that we are here for them.
You sound like a real librarian out here. I've never heard one speak so openly about, we offer all this stuff and you just need to come ask or come figure out. But also you're sort of saying that, but at the same time, you're saying we as librarians also have to make it aware.
It's our job.
To our community. Do you think some libraries are slacking in that area and they don't care? Could it be easy to just sit at your desk and not be out there outreaching, trying to get people to come check out your library?
It is very easy to do that. But then what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Why are you just trying to just get a check, pretty much?
I don't understand the librarians that don't do that work, because you want people to come to your library. You want people to patronize your library. You want to have things for them to come for. So the ones that don't, again, I don't know what they're doing. And the ones that have all of this wonderful technology that it's just sitting, catching dust, what are you doing? I would not blame that on the patrons. I would not blame that on the community. I'll blame it on the librarians and the library workers, because you can always get out and go to your council persons or go to your Congress people and say, hey, can we do this? We want to do this with you guys. Let's partner with this nonprofit. Let's partner. Let's get people in the library. Let's get people in your programs. anything to get these people here to patronize your library, to use the resources that your library has.
I will say this, and I'll end with this. You are about that life, because literally I was talking to Michael. Michael's like, I know this young lady, Georgette, Bam Bam will make it happen. I was like, I don't know, man. This sounds, I'm going to have to go, because I've dealt with city people before.
Yeah.
And because I knew somebody, we used it's a historic theater that's in Liberty City.
The Lyric?
Yeah, the Lyric. Yeah, the Lyric. The
okay.
Lyric. And so I have a family member that works there. So I was able to get the location for nothing. And we did some stuff that would work. But it was a couple loopholes. And it was like a lot of stuff I had to go through. But with you, it was like, nah, this is the date, boom, let's do it. And it was so easy to work with. I was like, this can't be real.
That's the difference between
I was like, this can't be real.
That's the difference between a county and municipal.
It wasn't.
I would have had to get all kind of permissions and da 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 da. And there is someone above me. We do have a director. His name is Paul Bazile.
Understood.
He pretty much trusts my decisions, so he doesn't question too many things.
Got it.
Right. So I told him, hey, we have this guy. He wants to come and do a podcast or whatever. And he was like, okay. I mean, because he knows I'm not going to do anything to,
crazy.
Whatever. Right. So
well, I appreciate it, Georgette. Thank you for not just your time, your facility, your knowledge, some of the stuff. I have to have another conversation because there's so much more.
Oh, yeah.
That I wanted to tackle. And I only found out after I kept doing, because I was like, all right, we're going to talk about these things. But then I started doing more research on you. I was like, she's real about this life. There's this season. And then when I hear you talk about like these programs and the fact that that's the thing that I think I take mostly from this is that my overall theme when I think about a library, people aren't talking openly about, like you don't hear, when's the last time I've heard a librarian tell me, oh, there's these great programs. I only find out when I show up and by luck I see a flyer or something that catches my attention. Or if I'm like, most people, I'm online and, oh, snap, they got this. Right. It's just really tough. And especially in communities like this one. Like, a lot of people ain't looking like that. Either they're showing up and they saw something and they joined it, or they're here for the wrong reasons. They're hot and they need an AC room and they're sitting out there sort of chilling. So, like, I appreciate your knowledge, your time. You got so much more in depth. And I want to be able to give people, the reason why we do this podcast is not just to talk about our experiences as fathers or parents, but also to give parents, tools. And so if they hear from this conversation and be like, oh, snap, I'm going to my library and I'm underutilizing the things they have there that I need. It's like this year, we made it a plan to go to our local library and take my son. And I'm like, son, we're going to get off Roblox. Because, we walked on and he was like, let me get on the computer so we can play Roblox. At home, boy, we can do that at the crib. What is we doing here? No, we're going to grab a book and we about to get to this reading. Like, I need you to... And it starts like that. I know it's a hard thing, but you are one of the few that I've spoken to that is like open. You're one of the mouthpieces that I'm like is open to telling people how dope a library could be, especially when people out here struggling in all areas. And this is a place of hope. I don't just see it as a place of just books. I see it as a place where people can like literally find freedom in many different ways, like financially, literacy. They can be like, oh snap, I could change my career path. I could find out about this distress I'm dealing with emotion. Like a library is so much more than that. And so you're just a mouthpiece that I think is dope to that. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for your knowledge, your time, your efforts, and just to connect to be like, man, I'm down to help. And so I appreciate that.
All right, anytime.
Gracias.
Anytime you want to restart this conversation.
I will, but I'm going to come from another part of it. Oh, yeah.
So we're more prepared. It's different angles that you can come at, but we got everything. I mean, we've literally walked kids through high school and took them to college.
That's amazing.
Myself and the director before we got into these two admin positions. So we do try to go above and beyond because we know what our kids need, and a lot of times it's not there for them. So somebody has to be there.
It's true.
So we make sure at least at this library that our kids know that we are here for them, whatever they need. We got it. We speak their language, So
I wish you would have been out here when I was a student. Love it.
It happens.
That's a long time ago. Thank you so much, Georgette.
Oh,
How do
you're
people
welcome.
check you out? I mean, I don't think you got a website or anything, but just come to your local branch, okay? Come to North Miami if you want. It's a dope branch. I've been here a couple of times. It's been a while, but it's changed. It looks a lot more renovated. There's new computers.
Yeah, we actually renovated a couple years ago.
Yeah, when I came back, it wasn't looking like
It was
how
a
it's
little
supposed to-
different.
Yeah, all the little secluded rooms and all that. Thank you so much, Georgette. I appreciate you so much. This is the Daddy Dialogue Podcast right here, your man Jay Blaze.